When I go outside, it's usually because all my internet friends are offline and it's time for me to do something a little bit productive. Usually I go outside with a plan in mind to find one or two animals, and it's usually kind of planned out. But sometimes an alien comes out of the woodwork and just daps me up, you know what I'm saying? So you know I'm gonna take my boy home and shoot a video. Like, how dangerous could a little woodland creature be anyway? And that brings me to this cute little guy I found in the woods the other day. He looked kind of like a hornet or maybe an ant, maybe a queen ant of sorts. Well, not quite. The bug I snagged from the woods wasn't an ant or a wasp at all. It was a beetle, and not just any beetle, it's a blister beetle. A bug with a poison said to be as toxic as cyanide. I'm Dan from Pinpoint Wildlife, and you're watching Creepy Crawlies.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine.
Back in my apartment, we have right here, chilling on this piece of cardboard, a murder weapon on 6 legs. So what makes this little guy so deadly, you may ask? This is a blister beetle, more specifically the American Oil Beetle. It uses a defense mechanism called reflexive bleeding, where noxious fluid is secreted from the bug's exoskeleton when harmed. Some bugs use toxic chemicals here and there to make sure the predator spits them out, but most insects don't compare to blister beetles, and that's because these beetles produce a chemical called Cantharidin, which is a super toxic chemical. If you get just a drop on your skin, you're gonna break out in nasty blisters, hence the name blister beetle. And if you manage to eat the beetle for some reason, let's just say you're gonna have a really bad time. Symptoms include, but aren't limited to, vomiting, diarrhea, internal bleeding, kidney failure, and possible death. It's said that the lethal dose of Cantharidin is around 10 milligrams, which, to put it in perspective, a lethal dose of cyanide is like 2 or 3 milligrams. So there's no question that these beetles are super toxic, but is it really enough to kill a full-grown horse? Here's how it happens. A lot of farm animals love eating a plant called alfalfa. You can feed alfalfa to horses, cattle, sheep, and many more. And it's an excellent source of protein and calcium, making the plant a great choice for a lot of farmers. But do you know what else likes alfalfa? Blister beetles. So when horses and cattle go to eat their morning lunch, they might get a little bit of an extra crunch, if you know what I mean. After just 5 hours, the horses start acting really strange, foaming at the mouth and aggressively dunking their head in water. And by the 10-hour mark, horses are in seriously bad condition with bloody vomiting and internal chemical burns, and many of them are going to die. Horses in particular seem to be very susceptible to Cantharidin. Most studies report ingestion of only 25 to 300 beetles is enough to kill an average-sized adult horse. Here's a real-life example, link in description. This farmer from Wisconsin lost not just 1, but 16 horses due to blister beetles. Alright, change of pace, let's talk about the life cycle of these blister beetles, which is also kind of crazy. They start their life going through a process called hypermetamorphosis. Instead of becoming your typical grub larvae, they become a speedy silverfish looking thing called a triungulin. And these triungulin actively seek out male bees by releasing a pheromone that mimics a female bee looking to mate. Then they proceed to literally attach themselves to the bee and hitchhike to the nest, and once they get there, they're eating the bee larvae, the pollen, and all the nectar. And then in the next stage of metamorphosis, you'll see these bugs actually more in a grub-like phase from all the food they ate. And then now that they're already full, they're free to pupate and turn into adult beetles, like the one I've been playing with. Ugh, I don't like the word pupate. Ugh. So that's gonna wrap this one up. If you gained a new fear, or maybe liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe the video for more Creepy Crawlies. Thank you.